Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unloved series with me, Raindell, and today we're talking about the Ice Dragoon Viktora. And from my experience, users that have built Viktora really like her and enjoy using her a lot, but she's still not very well known among many players outside of the live PvP scene, where she has quite a bit of a showing. So we'll, as usual, take her to Arena and try to feature her in a couple battles, but first, let's take a look at what she can bring to a team. So, what Viktora has really is a lot of mobility and a lot of damage. That's what she provides as a unit. She also has a very decent missile resistance, so you can use her against missile teams, especially if they're built around Lucia, quite well. Now, she has resistances to stop, so that can be useful against Agrias, but she doesn't have any defense penetration, so I would not say that's her primary role. Now, if we take a look at her support abilities, the reason why Viktora hurts that much is because she has access to self-sacrifice, the soldier passive. Now, that makes her even more squishy, so usually if she's running against a full offense character, she's going to go down if she gets hit, but she's also going to take them down in one hit if she can get her attack off, so there's some sort of a trade-off here. The other passives are pretty nice. I typically really love using Thief Lore. I think an extra point of movement is really good, especially for a unit that has a couple AoE attacks that she can place if she moves that one extra square, and the extra agility is always useful. In terms of counter abilities, Quick Action is really good because it can be used no matter where the enemy is compared to you, and it makes your next turn come by quicker. I also enjoy Dragon's Blade once in a while because it can make all the difference if it does proc, healing you back, but generally, if Viktora is lucky enough to survive, she has very low HP, so I prefer just having the chance to get another turn and possibly taking out another enemy. Now, let's take a look at her main job, and that's really the most important part of her kit because it provides all the damage she needs. Her other jobs have the Thief, which is useful for a couple shenanigans, including steal time in some raids, and then having a guaranteed attack from the back using sneak attack. But in most cases, especially in Auto, you'll be very satisfied with just the Dragoon job. It does the trick. The key takeaways here are Horizontal Jump, which has a really long range, and then Dragon Dive, which can be an AoE option that she has in her kit. These moves all have pretty high modifiers, so they hurt really hard. Then she also has her Limit Burst, which hits in a cross shape, without much of a height range, so she needs to be within one height difference of her targets, but it deals serious damage. And it has a pretty good chance to charm. With 67%, it's more than even Steel Heart. So usually, if you're hitting a high fate target and it's not a unit that has charm resistance, you're getting the charm off. It's pretty much guaranteed. So it's very powerful, having the possibility to charm several enemy teammates in one hit if you're placed correctly. Now, as I mentioned before, her sub-jobs are pretty disappointing. Usually, even if you equip her the soldier sub-job, she won't even use those abilities because they don't deal enough damage compared to the Dragoon options. And then, unless you're running her on an evasion build, you don't really need what the Thief sub-job offers. That is, however, not true for any kind of manual PvP, because having the option to guaranteed hit with sneak attack is really good. So if you can go into the enemy's back, it doesn't matter what evasion they have, it becomes a guaranteed attack, just like Sharpshoot. So that can be very strong. Okay, so let's take a look at our team for today. And we'll be swapping their positions around a lot, because the idea behind this team is Viktora, if she moves forward by herself, is going to die. So we need to have her paired with other characters that will also move forward with at least jump 2 and be able to take the hits for her to remain free. We're using Dwayne because of his innate hate and extra jump, which is really good for keeping the aggro away from Viktora. Then we're also using Laswell because his Mirage allows him to take a hit and not go down, so he can be used to match Sakura or Kain's and survive their initial attack. So quickly, we are running her with the Dragoon subjob because, as we discussed, her subjob doesn't impact her that much. All of her abilities are turned on, she has a really good AI with it, so I don't mind it much. The floor for the extra move, self-sacrifice for the extra damage, so we're at almost 1000 points of damage, so that is pretty good. You can tell our defenses aren't great. She's actually pretty squishy, so she will go down in 1 or 2 hits. We are running Udden and have a bit of magic resistance here, so hopefully if she does get hit, she won't die too quickly. And we're running the Bergonet armor to make her a bit slower, because I want her to match Dwayne's speed as much as possible. Now, Laswell also has quite a bit of attack. He has defense penetration. He's our tank buster in this formation with his limit break and 40% defense penetration from this passive ability. So that's his role on our team. He's running the Dragoon subjob just because it gives him a little bit of extra range, and we didn't turn off any abilities. Again, his AI is very satisfactory in my opinion. Then final character is Dwayne. He has, again, he's our tank. He's not super tanky, only 40 points of defense because we had to give up his defensive passive in favor of jump +1. He's also running Dragoon for the longer range, sometimes taking out an enemy very early in the fight, so that's what he is there to do. And we have turned off Atonement, because with Atonement, Dwayne tends to stay behind, and we absolutely don't want him to do that. We also turned off Dragon's Skin, because I prefer having him cast his own defensive buff over an offensive one. He's there to tank, and while he does a lot of damage, we don't need him to buff his offense. So that's what the team looks like, and let's take it to battle. Bingo. Alright, so for our first battle here, we're fighting Engelbert, Sakura, and Kain. And Engelbert and Sakura are very strong, they benefit from the map ability, but we have an enemy Sakura in middle slot, which means that she should not be able to reach our Viktora immediately. And then Dwayne is in front of Kain, and Viktora is in front of the enemy tank. And that's key to using Viktora, is making sure that she is not in front of someone who can one-shot her, because she'll generally be moving first in turn, and if that puts her into danger zone, she's just going to get killed before she gets a chance to attack. So here, she actually gets to do something early, and not die, so we'll get to see at least one attack. Now, the enemy team is rather tanky, and they're running Engelbert, which has a lot of hate, so I'm not expecting massive damage on him, but we are in the air for Sakura's turn, which I was hoping to get. That means she attacks Laswell with his Mirage. Now, she does multi-hit attacks. That's very unfortunate for us, because she still does damage, but now she's used her main AoE attack, and we are in good shape to deal damage, taking her out and increasing our defense penetration. Here, Dwayne will be managing the aggro from now on, and Viktora will be free to run around and do damage as she pleases. One of her weaknesses as an offensive unit is she does not have defense penetration that much, so it can reduce her damage, but in this scenario here, she was able to do an ice chain, leading to quite a bit of damage, even though Engelbert is so tanky. Now, on a weaker target, she will usually do much more damage, but our enemy Kain here has actually very okay defenses. Still, she did quite a bit of damage, and our team managed to take theirs down. So, let's find a bit of a tougher matchup here. Okay, so this time we're fighting Lardeau, Niv'Lu, and Halloween Little Leela. They have a missile unit and a wind unit, so Viktora should not be in that much trouble, but if she gets hit by Lardeau, she is dead. So for this reason, we placed Laswell in front of Halloween Little Leela, Dwayne in front of Lardeau, so he can keep hate for a while, and then I'm not expecting Niv'Lu to take Viktora down that quickly. So we should be in an okay shape. Now, I don't like fighting an enemy Niv'Lu with bells. I find that makes her very dangerous to fight. But she does advance in the first turn when she has those, so we might just be able to kill her very early. There we go! You can tell that even without buffs, Viktora does quite a lot of damage. Now, that does mean we did not get to cast bells in this fight, so that's definitely a drawback. That means we'll be stuck on auto-attack duty on Lardeau, who's very resistant, so that can be scary. When fighting an enemy with bells, if you kill them early, they don't get to generate AP, so that's definitely an advantage. And our team is built with a lot of defense penetration on Laswell so that he can deal with targets like Lardeau. So without the elemental disadvantage here, it would have been a kill, but even then, he did enough damage that we were able to eliminate him rather quickly. Now, Viktora barely survives this attack, which is very good for us. That was thanks to Dwayne's vision card, increasing our magic resist just a little bit, and again, she attacks and takes out one of the enemy characters in one hit, forcing them into healing duty. Now, our team is in pretty good shape. We'll be able to reduce Niv'Lu's HP very low, take her out here, and that leaves only little Leela to deal with. Now, she has a lot of strong AoE attacks, but still, we still had Mirage and Laswell, and we have two Ice Element units to take her out, so we should be looking pretty good. And I say that as she gets a very powerful counter and almost kills back to full, but still, 7,000 damage from Laswell, and here we go. And I really like using Laswell with Viktora because of their ice affinity. Laswell has some ice resistance down abilities that he can use, so they can sort of team up to take out tankier enemies. Okay, this time it's a very scary enemy team. They run the light damage up vision card and then Trousseau, so they will have a lot of light damage from Sakura. I'm putting Laswell in front of her, hoping that with Mirage he can take her limit burst, and since the enemy tank is in the middle, Viktora should be able to move forward on turn 1 with bells, and then potentially get a charm off on turn 2. Because she won't die from the early positioning. So that's really what we're hoping for. I don't like the fact that she moved to the side there. That puts her in range from... oh no, she's in range for a powerful attack from Ruined Sterne. Hopefully he doesn't have the height range to hit them both. Okay, fortunately, he could not take us out. And now, if we did not have hate on Warrior of Light, that would have been a charm in a cross pattern. Unfortunately though, he does have hate, so we're kind of forced to go hit him. As you can tell, even without defense penetration, she's doing very heavy damage. And now we should see Laswell be able to take out Sakura. There we go. So our main threat is out. All we need to do is survive Ruined Sterne's next attack, which will unfortunately take out 2 of our guys. So that might very well be a lost battle. We really need Laswell to cast Mirage again and take out Ruined Sterne in one hit. So there he goes, surviving Ruined Sterne's attack. But now, if he gets in range... Oh, Ruined Sterne was so fast that he killed us. That's unfortunate. So we got to see Viktora do okay damage against Warrior of Light, but not the most beautiful combat. Okay, let's find a different enemy team here. They're all magic based, and they all have a lot of damage. Howlett is a very, very scary character, but we have wind resistance on our side, so I'm letting Viktora in the middle to match Howlett, and since the enemy Rain will probably be the one with hate on their team, we might be able to get a cross-shaped attack on them, and that's what I would be very happy to see. Now, he uses Revitalize on turn 1, so he actually does not have hate right now. Okay, the typical Ildyra theorem early turn, which means that Rain will get to act again before Viktora does, so she might get hit with a not great fire attack, but Dwayne's in range to tank. There we go. So because of that movement from Rain, I'm not sure she'll be in position to use her limit break. Yeah, that is very unfortunate because I really like charming enemies. Y'all should. It's a very, very nice thing. Still, our team's positioning is okay here. We have Mirage and Laswell still. We took down their healer, so all we have to do is take out Howlett before he somehow kills everyone on our team. And, well, we have the Ice Killer Queen here to take him out. I'm expecting him to go down in one hit. Howlett's not especially tanky, but still 6,000 damage, and had he survived, he would have been charmed. So, that fight went really well. Alright, final battle here, we'll be fighting Gunners with Skahal. And I willingly changed our position with Laswell in the middle here because Skahal's limit break, if he were to move forward and throw it on Viktora, would kill her in one go. She's resistant to the missile attacks a little bit, but definitely not to this one. So we kind of needed her to be on the side. And I was very happy with matching her with Lucia instead. Now, the enemy team was all faster than us, but I wasn't sure they would be because Skahal had 91 agility, which is the same amount as Viktora, so she could have moved first. So now, the battle is all about how long Dwayne can resist those attacks and keep hate, and if he manages to do that for long enough for Viktora to move and attack, we will just straight up win, because she'll take them out in one go. Now, Dwayne will probably go down to Lucia's second attack here. He's not resistant to missile, and she has defense penetration, so she's actually very good against Dwayne if you ever need to use this matchup. Here, we see the cross-shaped limit burst again. We won't get to see the charm though, because it will kill Skahal. There we go. And whoever gets to Lucia first will get to kill her, because wind unit. So yeah, another pretty clean victory. Less points because Dwayne went down, but still, I'm pretty satisfied here. Alright, so we got to see Viktora do quite a bit of damage, both against high defense enemies and squishier enemies. Now, typically, against squishier targets, she'll just take them out in one hit. So I would say she's a very, very strong unit. I enjoy using her a lot, but you always have to be wary because she has the combination of fast and squishy. And while being fast is an advantage in most cases, it will put her into a very tricky position early, meaning that she can just die before dealing any damage. So when you use her, I would say you really need someone with hate to handle the damage that she receives. And if you manage to keep her safe, she is a very, very strong carry. So yeah, that's what I have to say about her. I really like the character, and Charm is such a good mechanic, both in PvP manual play and in auto battle. It actually functions more often than you'd think, because whenever an enemy survives it, they end up being on our side for one turn or so before we hit them again. So that's what I had on my end. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It will make it that much more likely that you'll see this kind of content in the future. And then have a great rest of your day, and thanks again!